Hello, everybody. I'm teacher Rodrigo Sapien, and today we're going to talk about Microsoft Word, and we're going to talk specifically about indent and paragraph. Okay, and about the different things that you could do in this part of the formatting. Okay, and how it works, what it does, and what many things or flexibilities you have. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is defining or indicating what indent is. Okay, the indent is the start or position, okay, that is separated from the margin at the beginning or at the beginning, I'm sorry, of a paragraph. There it is, of a paragraph. There we go. Now, the first thing that we have is to identify the different types of indents that we have. The first one we're going to mention is the first line indent. Okay, this is something that I use quite a bit to give a specific type of format. It's a very old timey kind of format, and a lot of people still use it as a standard. Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend you to do is to go to this website again, loremipsum.io, which is used to preview texts, within a layout. I'm going to generate something of 5 sentences right here. 5 sentences. I'm going to click on generate, and then I'm going to see how it's created. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to go back to Word, and I'm going to paste it in a special way. Paste special, and I'm going to put here unformatted text, and it's going to paste it. Now, for all of you who don't know anything about this, about Lorem Ipsum, what it does is that it's randomly created, or supposedly randomly digitally created text on a computer. Okay, and I use it a lot to fill in spaces and so forth and so on. Okay, so I'm going to select the text here, and I'm going to move. As you can see here, we have the margins. This is used in centimeters in my case. I like to use the metric system for many reasons. Okay, you could also use it in inches, depending on where you are located. In my case, I use centimeters. So you have these two little arrow pointers here, and the bottom one moves the entire paragraph. Okay, completely. But let's undo this and go back. But I just want to move the first line. So I'm going to move just the top arrow, the top little pointer there, 1 centimeter to the right. And as you can see, it's only going to move the first line, which is really interesting. So if I hit enter, it's going to start at the margin that I'm talking about, which is really interesting. Now, one thing that I'm going to do here, just so you guys know, is that I'm going to click on this button right here that you can see. This is going to show the marks that we have from the format that we've done so far. Okay, so if I click on this thing, we're going to see the format. This little this little symbol or character that we have here indicates that there's an enter here. This thing indicates that there's a tab, and the little dots between the words are spaces. Okay, so in this context, what I want to do is I want to see them. Now, these kind of characters are not printed. They're for you to see when you're formatting, but when you print it, they will not appear. It's just a reference per se. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert something so the rest of the text is not affected. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert something right here before, going to insert it before and after. Okay, I'm going to insert something here that is called no, I'm sorry, it's in design, I believe. No, in layout. Sorry, I can't remember my thing. So I'm going to put here in breaks. I'm going to put a continuous break, which means that what happens before this break and after this break is not connected. It's not going to affect the rest of the text. So I'm going to click it here. There's a section break right here, and then I'm going to add another one. I'm going to add it here, and I'm going to add another one that's continuous. There it is. So everything that's in between these two breaks, okay, is going to be affected only to that. The rest of it will not be affected. Let me show you one thing that is pretty interesting. Okay, well, let's say that I add the columns and I put 2 columns. Everything inside it is going to be affected into 2 columns, but the rest of the text will not. Okay, so just so you know what that is. Okay, so there it is. We have the the separated, so whatever the separated section of the document, so you guys know what happens. All right, I'm going to turn this off again, and we don't see it. It's there, but you cannot see it. Okay, for the next part is something called the full paragraph indent. Okay, as I mentioned before, I'm going to copy this full paragraph indent. Okay, so again, I'm going to insert another break. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to insert another one here. Continuous break. I'm going to put something here for another break. Okay, continuous. There we go. So everything inside these two is only going to affect that. Okay, so I'm going to copy the text again from the lorem ipsum. Okay, I'm going to copy it here. There it is. It's been copied. Okay, and then I'm going to paste it, do a special paste here. Okay, let's see, go paste special. Where is it? Paste special. Here we go. Okay, we click on it, and we're going to go for unformatted text. It gave me the one that it had before because it thought it had an underline because this was underlined. But anyways, I took it off. Okay, so what's going to happen is that I'm going to select all of this text, okay, after the section break and before the next section break. That's continuous. Okay, and I'm going to modify the margin of it. Okay, so if I modify the margin, it's only going to be affected there. Now, the interesting thing is that this only affects the margin, but not the margin of the entire page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here. As you can see, there's a highlighted part, and a shadowed part. Okay, and I'm going to move this thing. Okay, so now the entire page or is affected, or the entire paragraph is affected, so nothing can be written on this side. The same thing can be shown for this side. Okay, I'm going to move it all the way over here. So this the entire text, I'm going to justify it here. The entire text is going to fall within these two margins. Okay, so you have the intent, and you also have the margin on both sides, which is really interesting. Okay, you can also do this with your text. It's a really cool thing to do if you want to separate formats. So you can go ahead and try it with any kind of format you want. Okay, I'm going to turn that off again. It's still there, but we can't see it. Now, the next part that we're going to talk about is the line and paragraph spacing. Okay, line and paragraph spacing. Okay, this is also pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. Okay, I use it a lot. I use a lot I ask my students to use it, and I use it a lot personally for providing certain specific documents. It has a specific type of use. Okay, and if you're ever in need of doing that, just use it here. This is what we're going to do. So I'm going to generate 3 paragraphs. Okay, I'm going to generate something a little bit bigger because I need a little bit more text. As you can see, there's 3 pretty big paragraphs right here. I'm going to copy this. If I need to, eliminate some part of the paragraphs, I most definitely will. Okay, so let's see. No, that's not it. There it is. Okay, we're going to paste in the unformatted text. Okay, this text is a little bit big, so I'm going to eliminate a part of it. Okay, because I want you to appreciate a few specific parts about this text. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate this. Okay, there we go. So now I have 3 similar paragraphs. Okay, so the first thing I want you to see is that with this text right here, you can separate lines. This is line spacing. Okay, so I'm going to choose the first one, okay? And I'm going to separate the first one. The first one is single spaced. I'm going to select it at 1.15. It separates it just a little bit. So it's 1.15 separation between spaces. Okay, this one I'm going to do at 1.5. Okay, and the third one, I'm going to do it at 2, double spacing. Now, a lot of the times teachers require, like myself, whenever I used to ask for printed assignments or essays, I don't do it anymore because I've tried to go paperless as much as I can. I used to do double spacing because if you do double spacing and you're a teacher, you could put the notes on your feedback right in between the lines. You could just write it with a pen or with a pencil and tell your students where they went wrong, or if you have some suggestions. Or even if you want to praise them, tell them you did a very good job in this line, keep this up, and so forth and so on. Okay, now this is the line spacing, to be more specific, okay? Line spacing. But now I'm going to do something a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to be more specific here. Line spacing. I'm going to write this down here, and I'm going to say line spacing. Okay, there we go. At the bottom, I'm going to put paragraph spacing, which is a little bit different, just slightly different. Paragraph spacing. Okay, I'm going to paste the text again. The text I had already pasted here. Unformatted as well. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, I apologize. Sorry about that. And thank you if you said bless you. So, I think I'm... Oh, excuse me. And thank you. So, what I'm going to do here, what I want you guys to see in this one, is that there's also an option of, to separate the paragraphs just a little bit more. Okay, just a little bit more that they're separated, because these are separated by a line. But what if it has no line? Okay, what if it's like this, but they're still separated paragraphs? Here, if we justify the alignment, I think I got an allergy. I apologize. That, or it's very cold. So let's expand it a little bit here. Okay, so as you can see right here, there's an enter. If you can see here, there's an enter right here, and there's an enter right here, which means that these paragraphs are technically separated. Okay, but we cannot appreciate the separation. So I'm going to select this whole thing. Then I'm going to go into line and spacing options. Now we already know how to separate the spacing between the lines, but in this option, this is line spacing. We've already talked about this, but this one we haven't. Okay, this is the spacing between paragraphs. So I'm going to separate it at 6 points before and 6 points after. Here it gives you the example. So let's okay it and see what happens. Now there's a small separation between the two of them, which is more noticeable. It's probably not as noticeable as I would like. So if I don't like it, I don't like the way it looks, I'm going to go again and probably increase it a little bit more, maybe to 12 points. Okay, which is the size of a line, because these fonts are 12 points. And as you can see, right, there's a separation. There's no line between them. It's a separation. So every time that I'm here, okay, I'm here and I click on it, it's going to give me the automatic separation, as you can see. Okay, so this is really interesting. This is an automatic feature, so you don't have to double enter every time that you're after a paragraph. Okay, which is again really helpful. And then of course the next part is kind of an obvious thing that we've always talked about. This is the paragraph alignment. Okay, the paragraph alignment has 4 basic alignments. The first one is left. Okay, left alignment. So I'm gonna select this thing. I'm gonna copy it with no format, so it doesn't give me any line spacing or anything like that. Okay, here we go. Unformatted text. There it is. Okay, so the left thing is of course put to the left side. Let's do the next one. The centered version. Okay, I'm sorry about my cold. Centered, okay. For the centered alignment, of course, we click on it and everything is going to be in the center. Okay, this helps us a lot for titles. In the next one, we have the right one, which is usually done for quotes or for signatures. Okay, and I do recommend you using it if it's necessary. I use it a lot to put the name of a quote or something like that. Okay, which is of course to the right. There we go. Okay, everything is aligned to the right. And finally, the justified alignment. Okay, and the justified alignment is probably the most professional one for any standard paragraph. Okay, so try and do that. Here it is. So the justified one makes everything look aligned on both sides of the paragraph. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about is shading or colored background. I use this to indicate sometimes a mistake, to indicate something that I want to make emphasis on. It's not highlighting, it's shading. Okay, shading or color or coloring or colored background in a text. Okay, so let's see. Again, I'm still copying the same text. Why should I put anything else? So for this one, you select any kind of line or whatever it is, and you click on the background, which is this one over here. Okay, as you can see, we have many options here for colors. Okay, whatever you want, and it's going to color the background, not the letters themselves, but the background rather. Okay, so we could do it at any color we want. You know, if you want to do it yellow, you could do it yellow, or if you want to do it a darker color, you know, like blue, maybe, you could also do that. Okay, this is the colored background, and you could do this to emphasize any text you want, you know, when it comes to presenting your text, right? And this, of course, works in digital, but also when you print it out, this is going to show. All right. In the next one, we're going to talk about the paragraph styles, which is this menu that we have right here. Okay, the paragraph styles. Now, for this one, we have many options when it comes to the section of the text that you are using. Okay, these indicate the section of the text. Now, for this one, I tend to use these. They help me to format a specific way in which it basically thinks for me, because I don't have to create any formats. It does it automatically. So the normal one just looks the same way. Okay, with no spacing as well. They're very similar, no spacing. Okay, but let's see. There's also other ones that we're going to talk about that begin having like a section, a clear section. Okay, so let's see, for the heading. Let's copy this thing right here. Let's copy this one. Okay, we're going to copy this text. Okay, for heading. This is the heading of a section. Okay, we click on heading, or heading 1 rather. Okay, heading 1. As you can see, it changed the format, and it has a separation. You can see that it has a separation on the top. You know, it's already giving us what we need. Okay, heading 2, it usually changes just a little bit, you know, to help us understand that it's a different section of the text. And if you put these in the right place, you're always going to know that you're in a different section, or that you're in a specific section that you're trying to talk about. Okay, heading 3, all right, heading 4, heading 5, etc. Okay, there's quite a few options. Let's just try the heading 4 before we go into something different. Okay, the heading number 4, where are you? This expands, by the way. Okay, and then we have the title. The title section. Okay, if we click on it here, check this out. Title section. Okay, and it's way bigger. This is to indicate, of course, what you're talking about if you're beginning one text, just a general document. Okay, and there's the subtitle. If you have a different title that you want to talk about, or something a little bit smaller, or a subsection of whatever it is you're talking about, you could use this thing. Here, subtitle. Okay, and as you can see, you have many other options in here. I personally like to use a bunch of these. They do help us differentiate within the text. It doesn't look, you know, the same way everything else does. So yeah, so I like using it quite a bit. Okay, the intents code is the last one that I'm going to talk about for this type of thing. Okay, and it looks different. It looks like a completely separated quote. It's really interesting, and it helps you give a beautiful format to your document. Okay, remember that if you have any questions, leave some comments here on below on our channel. Drop us a message, and I'll try to answer as soon as I can. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful day.